Greetings and welcome to our channel. Today we have Yash Zaveri, a IIT graduate with specializing in UI UX, web developer, asking some personal finance questions for his personal financial planning. Welcome Yash Zaveri.
Hi Bobby, I had a few questions like we had discussed over the phone. Let's just dive into it straight away. According to you, how many sources of income should a person usually have?
There are four types of incomes. One, which is active from your body, time, and intellect that you use and earn money. A chartered accountant, a doctor, an engineer, or a businessman barter their time and intellect or their financial capital to earn money. Second type of income, I would call it a semi active income. A rental income falls into that bracket wherein you have to maintain the property at given intervals, and you also have to find a tenant if at all the guy leaves, the older one. The third type of income would be passive income, which is not guaranteed. A mutual fund and a bank FD fall into this category of incomes, wherein your money is coming good today, but you do not know if it will last for long. The fourth and the most important type of income would be guaranteed income for life, and if at all you can arrange something which is guaranteed and tax free, it will be an icing on the cake. These are the four types of incomes. Ideally, everyone should have all types of incomes when they are working, but once you retire, the active incomes will fall apart, and your passive income should be so large that the loss of active income should not affect your financial position. That is what is financial freedom.
So, how should one budget their income? How much should they invest and how much should they save?
The difference between saving and investment is one which is noteworthy, and everybody should exactly understand it. Saving is without risk, investment is with risk. The return on savings will be marginally lower than the one with risk, or ideally, the one with risk should be much higher on returns because there's a risk and a variable involved in it. Whereas savings should be in between 5 to 10% of your income, and investment can be anything between 10 to 20% of your income. It all depends on a risk appetite of the individual, the time horizon that he chooses, and the last one, what is his financial goal and when do you need the money. What if there is a crisis and you immediately have to encash? All these aspects are taken into consideration before deciding the financial allocation of your resources.
What tools, according to you, should someone who's just investing or starting to invest in initially?
With your first income, your saving capacity increases drastically. The reason behind it is nobody was actually dependent on your income, and whatever you spend is a luxury. Whatever you are investing is also a luxury. So, ideally, 80% of your income can be put into a savings instrument for the time that you do not have any dependence on. Your parents currently were managing the household expenses very well without your income. So even if today that income is not put up into the house kitty, your investment kitty can take out of it. And once you have a large amount of risk appetite, because there is no dependence, so you can take risky instruments into your folio. A stock market product would be ideally recommended at this stage to start with, along with a long term retirement plan. Though retirement may look too far fetched, but trust me, early retirement is the norm today. And taking risky routes through mutual funds would be more advisable than taking a single stock or investing in different stock folios. Ideally, cryptocurrency, the youngsters are more enticed towards, is not legal tender till date. Maybe in future, once it's more regularized or there is some specific norms for it, you could use that option. It's a very high risk instrument, so is equity market, but yet being regulated by SEBI, it is much more easier to invest in stocks and mutual funds rather than in cryptocurrency. So your first investment take should be equity as well as debt in the long term. Equity could be for your short term goals like marriage, could be for further education a couple of years down the line, and a debt instrument for a long term could do wonders for you in form of a life insurance.
How can one at my age plan for an early retirement?
Retirement is a state of mind. Retirement does not mean reading the Times of India from the first word to the last word. Retirement does not mean staying home all day looking at the television. Retirement means freedom to do what you want to do, freedom to work with the people you want to work with, and freedom from the monthly expenses. Not bothered about writing a check to somebody, not wondering to know what is the bank balance. Just click on your app and make a payment. That is what is retirement. Plan your holidays without blinking an eye. Plan a donation without thinking about where the money is going to come about. Retirement is a state of mind. Once you have your bread and butter, your monthly requirement sourced from your passive income, you can call yourself retired. And only with pensions you are stress free, because every month in whatever forms you want, a systematic withdrawal from your pension policies, from your mutual funds, or a life annuity from your life insurance policies, anything that you desire for, the monthly amount that comes to your bank account first of the month, 8 a.m. in the morning, when the bank opens, you get a pop-up on your mobile stating X amount is into your account, and you, with all your efforts on a normal living, cannot finish that X. That is retirement for me. Retirement is the will to do what you want to do when. That is retirement for me. And the power of retirement is the smile that you have time for everyone anytime you wish for, and if they need it, you are there for them. That's retirement.
If you could go back in time, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
It is not in reality possible to go back in time, but it is beautiful to plan for a 20-year-old. That is what I'm doing for my son. He is 21 years old, and we're planning something what I would have loved to have it for myself. I'm planning in such a way that he gets a passive source of income 15 years from now. Now, suppose he invested X money today. Do you think his investment capacity would grow to 2x or 3x in the next 15 years? Yes, of course, agree to that. But what if that capacity again is added 1x to it? The money that will come to him 15 years down the line will again be going back into an investment where his investment capacity has grown to 2x or 3x, one more x will be added to his investment options. Once he is secured, so first we are starting with life insurance, 15 years down the line, his payments will be over, and the money that he gets, his capacity to take risk will be much more compared to what it is today. He can define more volatile instruments when he has a stable passive income in place. Do you agree with that? Imagine yourself in that state when you are 25 today, and at 40 if you retire, and you don't need that money which is coming to you as passive income. Don't you think that money will go back into investments again? And that investments at 60 or at 55 or at 50 would be much more than what you can plan starting at 40. So that is the power of compounding. We would like to elaborate more. Whenever you want some more, you can get back to us on the numbers below so that we can one-to-one have a conference with you or interaction with you and take it forward.